Should a VP sales in a startup or scale-up cold call or not? In this video, I'm going to explain you why not. A couple of weeks ago, I saw a post on LinkedIn of a VP sales who proudly said that cold calling was one of his core activities. And I was really surprised by this. So I launched a poll on LinkedIn, but also there, 75% of the respondents said that a VP sales should be cold calling. I'm Cedric Royer and I create winning revenue strategies for B2B tech clients. And many of them are companies that are moving from founder-led sales teams to having their first sales VP. So let me start by saying that I understand for 3 reasons why people think that VP sales should be cold calling. The first one is the cost. When you're a founder and when you hire your first VP sales, this is without any doubt the most expensive hire that you will ever make. And in that sense, they might think to have them their own clients to earn it back. So they see at it as a cost point of view, but at the same time, a good VP sales is an investment. It will help selling your sales team better, faster, and more. 30%, 40%, 50%, 100% more. And when then we look at it from the founder's CEO point of view, they have been doing founder-led sales for quite some time. And there's simply a huge misunderstanding of what founder-led sales is versus having a sales leader doing sales. Because many founder-led sales are extremely operational and it's their job to build that momentum up. But once you transition into having a VP sales-led team, then you start working more strategically on the business. And this is what a VP sales is coming with. So they will make processes, document stuff, create playbooks. They will do all the bunch to make your sales team better. At the same time, there's also the title of VP sales. So the third point is then that title. And lots of people think that when they haven't been good salespeople for 3 to 5 years, that they're ready for that next VP sales role. And on the one hand, they might be, but let's not forget, when you are 5 years into a high-performance sales role with the right environment, the right coaching, then you'll become a splendid sales professional, but not necessarily a good sales leader. And that's the big but. A VP sales is not a sales, it's not an execution role. In that sense that it does not sales. Because if you look at right now, there's a lot of segmentation going on into sales, going from enterprise sales, mid-market sales, but also in the different stages. So you have the sales devs that create the opportunities, then you have the account executives that close it, you have the CS even, and when we consider them as part of the revenue organization, that are looking to retain and improve the usage of the product. And this brings me back then to the cost. If you see that segmentation and then you expect your VP sales to cold call, it's not the most efficient way to use the time of your VP sales because they're easily 5 or 10 or 20 times more expensive than your SDR. So 1 power hour of your VP sales is basically the time of 10 power hours of an SDR. So in that sense, the cost argument doesn't really play a logical explanation. So let's look at the skills. You need a completely different skill set because when you move into a sales leadership role, first of all, the goal is to have your results through other means and with other people. So you need to work on people skills and on people management skills. So you need to get results through collaboration, rallying your people, motivating your people, supporting your people. And then when we look at leadership, it does not mean leading by example. It does not mean this at all. So while you will help them, you won't do things for them. So you won't be cold calling for them to bring them leads. That's not your goal. Another argument I hear sometimes is that I want to keep on cold calling as a VP sales because I don't want to lose my skills. Let's not forget, again, those are 2 different skill sets. And secondly, high performance also means unlearning skills. So you really don't need to sharpen your cold calling skills if you need to work on your people skills. And then when you look at the issues, when you would be a VP sales that is expected to sell, because you're in 2 seats, right? On the one hand, you will be setting the targets, not just of yourself, but also of your team. And it will always create a conflict. So for example, what quota will you give? Will you give yourself the same quota as the rest of your team while not having that much time to work on the other stuff? How will you decide then the size of the quota? And when you see then that you run behind as a VP sales, you will automatically focus on getting your target and not on working what you're supposed to be working on, which is and the processes, but also on the future. You will build up the plans to get ready to build your organization up. So working on the future is always the first thing that goes. And then when you look at the deals, what type of deals or what type of clients will you give yourself? Will you, or as a founder to the VP sales, will you give them the big ones? Will you give them the difficult clients? Will you give them the easy clients? There is a case to make in all of the three arguments, but there is not any good answer, and you risk of creating competition between the VP sales and your team. And you don't want to have competition. You want to have a smooth running machine to start growing and scaling. And you don't do this by adding complexity or problems, right? Now, what if you are in this situation? What if you are a VP sales and you're expected to cold call? And because let's face it, in a startup, you will do operational stuff, definitely. So there are millions of companies that with 2 or 3 salespeople. So when you go into startup and into the early scale-ups, you will start growing from 40, 500% per year and more. So look at it from a point of view of the cost. Can you do it differently? Can you accelerate rather than initiate deal? As we said, the cost of your SDR is much cheaper than your own cost. So see if you can adjust that structure. Secondly, if you go for that VP title, VP sales title, make up your mind what you want, why do you want to have it? Do you want to grow into strategy? Do you want to grow into people management? Or maybe working with people is maybe less for you, and maybe you want to grow into sales. There are, by the way, tons of VP sales and director of sales that are individual contributors, and they manage their biggest clients, and they make, by the way, a lot of money. And this is something that you should be decide. What do you want to have within your role? The third thing is, of course, in a startup, in an early scale-up, bite through it and help make your company being successful to get them ready for growth. So look at how many salespeople, what is the threshold then to move completely away from that operational stuff so you can focus on building that future and on supporting and facilitating your sales team. And then in that sense, you absolutely need discipline, the grit, and bite through it and work for the future. So this is it. I hope this video was useful for you and explains you why you should not be cold calling as a VP sales. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to get insights and tips around revenue strategies. And if you think somebody can benefit from this post, please share it. And thanks for showing me some love.